Alright traders, this is Blake Morrow. You are listening to the Morning Edge webinar. I want to welcome you all back. So I'm going to grab our bias chart here, and we're going to get started with our morning analysis. So let's go over to the euro dollar. And yeah, again, we got a lot of stuff happening today. So here's the euro closing in on the 38% retracement. Now, if you recall, this is our analysis from yesterday, and I'm really tempted actually to short the euro dollar here to just go ahead and get started with a short position. Now, actually, I'm going to go ahead and sell a little bit right now, just inching my way in. You notice we're at the 38% retracement. Now, keep in mind this is yesterday. Now we might have a flag here, so I don't want to be too aggressive. I want to see if we just pivot off of here, because what could happen is we could see the 110.50, which would be the completion of this flag, right? Okay, so you know, this is possible to 110.50, but we're closing in on the 38% retracement. So I'm going to write down two levels of resistance. First level of resistance is 110.15, which is a 38% retracement. 110.50. Gosh, I got the hiccups. This is the flag completion. Okay. Now it is still bearish. Now, if you go, wow, Blake, it's, you know, how's it still bearish? Well, keep in mind we're in a down channel. Okay, we're below support here. It's a bounce. It's a bounce near term in an overall, you know, bearish trend, but that doesn't mean that we can't continue to move higher. You know, you hear me say that a lot. You know, we may be in a bearish trend, but we're getting a near-term bounce, and that's exactly what we're seeing with the euro yen, or euro yen, with the euro dollar. Okay, we're bouncing right into resistance here. Now support, overall, I think support's going to be probably, you know, probably right here, but let me try something really quick. Actually, I think any dip to right here on this hourly, well, no, you know what? Let me check something else. Probably back at 109.50 is going to be good support. Okay, we're still at highs of the day. So 109.50, 109. I mean, the dip here to 109.60. That's all pretty good. This is all going to be really great support. 109.50. Okay, on the way back down. All right, let's take a look at the cable. So here's the pound dollar. Now the pound dollar, so here we were yesterday, right? Like, oh, look, a rally to the trend line is going to be a good resistance. We drew it, and we rallied right to the trend line, resistance, started to pull back. Now, obviously we spiked above that yesterday. Okay, so let me get rid of this stuff that we drew out yesterday here. We basically stopped there and, you know, came off. That was good. Now today we broke this resistance here, so let's get rid of the, you know what, I don't want to get rid of that for now. I'm going to keep it, because you'll notice this trend line, this one right here that we drew. Okay, this one. Take a look. Basically, we're supported while above it, so we have support right here. I mean, like literally right here. So while we're above 122, $122.10, we're well supported. Now resistance, if you guys don't remember, resistance is right here at 123.25. It's huge. It's the 618 retracement of the post flash crash move. Okay, if you guys don't remember, flash crash, recovery, low, 618, resistance, resistance, should be really good resistance on the way up. So that's 123.25. 123.25. Okay. Support right now is 122.10. Anybody who's bullish doesn't want to see that break. And we are in a bearish trend. We are in a bearish trend. We're just currently bouncing in a very bearish overall downtrend. We're just currently trying to get our footing. Okay. Yeah, so at this point, I think any rally that we see up to like 123.25, you probably want to use that as a selling opportunity. While we're below that, you just sell into strength if we can get it. Okay. All right. Dollar Swiss. So the dollar Swiss has come under a little bit of pressure as well. Okay. Now the dollar Swiss is actually sitting on support right now. Okay. 98.40. Now let's figure something out. Below the 38% retracement, the 50% retracement comes in at 98.17 and then 98. I'm going to make an adjustment here. If you get a dip down to 98, that's going to be some really good support down there. Any dip down to 90, 98, 97, 90. Okay, the euro is at the 110.13 area. That means it is at the 38% retracement right now. Euro dollar new highs. Aussie new highs. Pound's not going. It's interesting. Okay, sorry. All right, so now this is good resistance for the Swissy, which is 99.05. It's still bullish while we're above. It's just currently pulling back. While we're above this blue line, it's still bullish. Okay. So I just added slightly to the euro. My average is 110.11. The euro dollar, remember, we're finding that resistance right here at the 38% retracement. Trying to break higher though. It's trying. This euro is pretty stout. Yeah, this euro is pretty strong. What's leaving the cable in the dust? The pound can't even get a lift right now, which is really interesting. Well, one of the other things about the euro dollar is the euro yen is ripping. I am long the euro yen. This thing trying to break above this resistance here, which is really key for the euro yen. It's ushering in a lot of dollar weakness, though. All right, sorry, I'm getting sidetracked here. Okay, dollar yen. Now the dollar yen is holding up well, even with bonds. Even with bonds rallying, yields falling, dollar yen's actually holding up pretty damn good. Have to admit. Market's getting a little risk averse right at this moment. Okay, so anyway, dollar yen. The 618 held yesterday. I know we spiked above it, but let's get rid of this. If you look at this dollar yen, this is really key support where we're at right now. We gap below this support here. Here, let's get rid of this for a moment. We're really going to have to hold 104, this 104.65 support. Yeah, this euro is strong. That's got to hold resistance right now. It's 105 and a quarter. And then obviously 105.50, which is key resistance. We are in a range in the dollar yen. Man, this euro dollar, Kiwi's new highs. Swissy new lows, euro new highs. This Kiwi just broke resistance at 71.80. The Aussie's closing in on 77 cents. You know what's interesting is you got these the stock market's actually pulling back a little bit. We were up 44 points in the Dow futures, only up 23 now. And these commodity currencies are still very strong, which is surprising to me. Okay. There's the dollar yen. Let's go over to the dollar Canadian. So here's the dollar Canadian. The dollar Canadian, to me, I'm very surprised that we haven't rallied further. Now, because crude's been so weak. I mean, crude oil is, just sitting on support basically. While we're above this resistance, which is basically 133 previous resistance, it's in breakout territory. It's trying to break out. So 133 is support today. What scares me about the dollar Canadian is it hasn't really rallied significantly. Take this high to low. 161% extension comes in at 135. I'm sitting here thinking, how's this thing going to get to 135? I mean, crude oil is going to have to really start to break down in order for that to happen. So 133 is going to be support here. Man, this euro is strong. Kiwi is strong. Aussie is strong. Look at the euro. Okay. Okay, so with the dollar Canadian, what we're going to do is we're going to mark up right now just this high here at 133, or 134.33, and then 135, just in case. 134.33, and then 135, just in case. And it's bullish right now. We're out of that lower end of the range. The euro might have just went out and just took out some stops there. I'm still short at 110.11. Okay. Let's go over to the Kiwi. All right, so here's the Kiwi. The neckline, previous neckline, is still at 72 cents. That's at the head and shoulder. Let's remove that. High here to low. We're at a 50% retracement. A 618 comes in at 72.06. So that should be resistance today. I'll just write 72.05. I keep it on bearish because we're still, in that head and shoulder pattern. The thing about this Kiwi is it's still holding up pretty well, and The trend line resistance is going to come into there, come right into play there too. All right, see if the Kiwi will turn. Oh wow, this euro is still spiking up. Look at the euro. Wow, that flag. We're gonna go right up to 110.50 in the euro dollar, which will be the flag pattern completion. We'll come in right there. Anyway, 72.05. Where's the Kiwi dollar support? Well, it's at 71.30 at this point. Okay. All right, guys. I'll be back in a few moments. When I come back, we'll do the Aussie dollar index, peso, Swedish krona, Norwegian krona. Don't go anywhere. Be right back. All right, traders, this is Blake Morrow. You are listening to the Morning Edge webinar. It looks like the dollar weakness has subsided a little bit. I was just actually paying attention to gold because gold's moving higher too, and that's obviously having a negative impact on the dollar. You have gold and silver rallying currently, so just keep in mind that we're pushing right into actually some, in my opinion, some pretty good resistance right up here. And remember, this is still a flag. Might actually be a little extended as far as the flag goes, but we're still pushing some pretty key resistance. Anyway, all right, back to our analysis. Let's go over to the Aussie dollar. The Aussie dollar is coming into some really key resistance here. And matter of fact, let's go from the high here to the low, which is here. We didn't stop at the 618 because of the RBA last night and the Chinese data, so we got a little bit lift more than that. The 88% retracement comes in at 76.92. That should offer some pretty good resistance because if you think about all these like false breakouts here, well, actually, you know what? Aussie might be up against really good resistance right now, but I'm going to say 76.92 is like the last like line in the sand for Aussie bears here. We are in a range. We're just at the very top end of the range. Now remember, we're in the apex of this triangle, so just be real careful chasing the Aussie higher here. One of the reasons why I got out of my Aussie New Zealand, or half out of my Aussie New Zealand, is just in case we struggle up here. Now I think we will be very well supported on dips back down to 76.20 today if the dollar should firm up. Okay, for today. All right, let's go over to the dollar index. So the dollar index under some pressure. We finally broke below the 70 or 98.20 level. Now, major support is right here. For those of you that want to be long the dollar, we'll be at 96, 97.60. Okay. Took the dollar a while to pull back, but 97.60 will be support. That's going to be really key support on the way down. Resistance now. I think where resistance is at now. Probably right back here. Any rally back to this area, probably find some sellers. Even even if we bounce like right now, any move back up to 98.50, it's gonna find some sellers. The dollar's still bullish, and it's still bullish while we're above. It's just pulling back today, you know, but still bullish while we're above this breakout point. So as long as we're above 97.60, you got to be very careful being short the dollar. Remember, we're in a very strong trend. This has been multiple weeks of moving higher. It's just it was looking very tired. We've obviously known that since last week. We talked about how the dollar just kind of looked, you know, tired up here, and indeed it has, you know. So okay, peso. So let's take a look at the peso. Now the peso is one of those. This is one of those pairs that I actually want to be long, you know, going into the election. Low to high, 50% retracement is holding, and that's at 1877. So we'll take this. We're going to write down 1877 as being support. And resistance now. And by the way, this also. Resistance is all the way up here at 1910. We are in a range. All right, let's take a look at the US dollar Swedish krona, or actually US dollar Norwegian krona first. So the US dollar Norwegian krona, we just came down to 8. Remember, we wrote down yesterday 818 or 820. We spiked to 820. Interesting, right? Resistance is 830. You guys should remember that. $830, $820, same numbers we wrote down yesterday. Let's go to the Swedish krona. So the Swedish krona, yesterday we wrote down support as being 895. The low today is 894.77. So 8.95, and resistance is 9.07. Is it 9.07 or 9.09? 9.09. Same numbers as yesterday. And this is bullish, and we're like right off of support here. Right off support. All right, guys, the euro dollar is coming back down. I'm still short at 110.11. Just sitting in it. Aussie's coming off a little bit. Kiwi's coming off a little bit. Swissy's trying to find some support. Okay, your bias chart's done. Let's take a look at some of your questions. All right, so the first question comes in from